Alright, let's take a look at how this bad boy works. At the front we've got our eyepiece and our eye relief adjustment. And then we have our 3 buttons here. Each button has 2 functions. And then we move down and we have our main scroll wheel now and buttons. So it's a scroll wheel and it's a button. So this allows you to access menus, zoom in and out and stuff like that. Up top here we have our battery holder for our external battery. It takes a 123A battery. That'll give you an extra 1 hour battery life on top of the internal battery. So on the right hand side here we have a USB port behind this cap, which will allow you to charge the device, plug it into your computer and download videos off it, manually run updates if need be, and also you can plug a battery pack in if you wanted to. That would extend your running time dramatically. And moving down to the front we have our focus ring. Now this allows you to focus in for different distances, giving you clarity based on what you're looking at. And then obviously we have our lens cap on the front here. It's a good lens cap. It holds shut pretty firmly, but it's easy to open, pretty well made. So that's the basics of it. Now let's swing back and see actually how this device works, what these buttons do. So if we come back to our first 3 buttons here, so to turn the device on, you press and hold the power button, and if you want to just put the device in standby mode, just press it once. Then we have our record button here. Now if you just press this button once, it'll take a photo. If you press and hold it, it'll start recording. And on the right here we have our color palette button. If you press that once, it'll cycle through the different color patterns that we have. And then if you press and hold it, it'll manually calibrate the device. So if you ever need to clear up that image for whatever reason, you can press and hold that to do a manual calibration. That's also handy if you do turn the automatic calibration off. That gives you full control over when it calibrates. Alright, so now we're going to run through how to connect to the Wi-Fi, how to access the menus, and then how to zero the device. Alright, so go over to your tablet. We want to download the Hikmicro site app. So go to the App Store. Alright, then you just download that app there, or if you've already got it installed, press open like I have here now. So now that we've got the app ready, we need to turn the hotspot on in the scope itself. So we need to go into the menus. So press and hold your menu button, scroll through until you find the Wi-Fi option and then turn that Wi-Fi on. Then once you've done that, go back to your tablet, go to your Wi-Fi settings, and then you want to connect to the HIC settings. And the password will be your serial number of the device. In my case, it starts with the K. You can actually see it up the top there as the name of the Wi-Fi as well, so it saves looking on the device. So we enter that. As you can see, it's connected to the Wi-Fi of the device now. You do not need signal for this to work, just to be clear. And you come back into the side app, and you'll see Start Live View will appear. Now we click on Start Live View, and now we can see what the scope can see. Alright, so now we're going to go through on how to use this device. Alright, so in the app itself, you can actually control a lot of features. You can control the palette color, you can zoom in and out, you can control the contrast, you can control the brightness, and you can also record or take photos. Alright, so now we'll run through how to get through the menus and access everything and then zero the device. Alright, so we just want to press and hold our scroll wheel, and as you'll see we've got the menu here now, so we can scroll through and change any settings that we need to. So as you can see, auto calibration is on, microphone recording is on, audio is on. So the Stella actually has a pre-record feature. Now what that'll do is it'll record in the background, and when the scope feels the recoil, it'll actually create a video clip from that shot. So it'll make sure you never miss any action. And then we have our reticle, and then we also have reticle groups. So what you can actually do is you can have up to 5 reticle groups with up to 5 different reticles. That means you have plenty of options to create zeroing profiles for different rifles. It's also handy for the same rifle so that you could actually sight it in for 50, 100, 150, 200, 250 even, and you could have a reticle that you can switch between on the fly before you're getting ready to take the shot. So if you know it's at 200, you can switch to your reticle that's sighted in for that distance. And you can change it on the fly by simply pressing the picture icon and the pellet icon at the same time. And that will actually cycle through. As you'll see in the top right hand corner, you'll see it's cycling through my reticles there now. So I could have a reticle for 100 meters, a reticle for 200, 300 and so on. Currently though, I don't have this set up. Alright, let's continue. So we can, as you can see, we can cycle through our reticle groups by pressing the scroll wheel button. We'll keep moving on from there. We have our picture-in-picture. We can turn that on and that'll give us a picture-in-picture up the top there, which allows you to see a wide field of view and a zoomed-in image at the same time. Then we go up from that, we have our scene mode, which allows you to change between jungle and recognition. And then we have our brightness adjustments, our contrast, and our network, so we can turn our hotspot on and off. Restore, so we can reset the device to default. Version, if you ever need to check if your device is up to date with the latest firmware, you can do it through there. We go back, and that's basically everything that we need to look at right now. So let's just get into the zeroing now. So we're going to start with our reticle group A, and then we're going to go to reticle. Now this is where you actually do your sighting in. So what you want to do is now press the scroll wheel button, and now we're in the reticle. So, and then we press our scroll wheel button again, and we've moved the reticle from off to reticle 1. So we can cycle through all the way to 5 different reticles. So we'll start with reticle 1. We're going to change our distance. So what we do is we press our scroll wheel button, and that'll activate the distance so that we can change it. So we're going to change this to, and we press it one more time to move to the next number. So we're going to make this 50 meters. All right, we keep pressing, scroll all the way through, and now we're back to being able to cycle through the other options here. And then we've got our type. Now that's the shape of the reticle. So we can actually change the shape of our reticle here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and number 4 here is the one that I like. I prefer this one. So you just press your scroll wheel button to cycle through them. And I like number 4 here. And now I can just scroll down to color. So, and then you can just press the scroll wheel button again, and we can change the color. All right, so I'm going to choose green. And now this is our freeze frame. This is what we'll actually use in a second. Make it very easy to zero it. You know, they call it a one-shot zero, but to be quite honest, it'll probably take you a few shots to get it spot on. Especially you want to do it at, you know, your 40, 50 meters and then out to your 100 meters. So you're going to use more than one, that's for sure. So go down the bottom here. I've actually played with this, so we'll bring this back to 0. All right, so the zoom here will actually allow you to zoom in and make finer adjustments on your zeroing. So we can actually make adjustments based on how much it's zoomed in, which allows you to fine tune it significantly. And then down the bottom here is actually where you move your reticle to zero it. So I'm just going to do a demonstration here. I'm going to go out and put a heat patch on this target out here to simulate where a shot would land, and then we're going to sight it into there. So basically what I'm going to do is I want it to be center, obviously. All right, and then when we take a shot, say it landed to the right there, then we can move our reticle and simply zero it very quickly. All right, so I'm going to go out there and do that now. You mad cow. I've got a cow right in front of me. Just come in to say hello, needs to piss off. So what we want to do is we want to zero it now to that patch. So we go back up the freeze frame. So we're aiming for the center of this target here now. We want to get that right where we're aiming, right in the center. Then we want to press that scroll wheel button. All right, so that's as close as I'm happy to get it right now. So now we're in the freeze frame. So you can put your scope down now and you can fiddle with it. You don't need to hold it still. That's going to stay exactly right there, so you can move the crosshair precisely with no issues. So what we want to do now is we want to go down to the X and Y axis down here, and we want to press our scroll wheel button to activate the X, and that will move it either left or right with the scroll wheel. As you can see it moving there now. You can see the green lines where it originally was, so we want to move it around 35 to the right there. Then we want to press our scroll wheel button, and that'll move it to the Y axis, and now we can move it up and down. Alright, so we want to put it right on our heat spot there, and then we can press our center scroll button, and then we can go back up to freeze, press our scroll wheel button again, and there we have it. So that's actually zeroed it now. So if we were to take another shot right on center there, I could nearly guarantee that it would be spot on or close to it. So that's it, that's how you zero it in. Now if we wanted to, we could go back up to our Reticle 1 and go to press our scroll wheel button. It'll come up with save parameters, so we want to save it. And now we move on to Reticle 2. So as you can see, Reticle 2 is already set for 100 meters, so we could go through that process again and do it for 100 on a different reticle, so we could change between different distances on the fly, creating very precise accuracy for the different distances we want to shoot at. We'll leave that as is, and I'll go back and show you what happens when we change it on the fly. So press and hold your scroll wheel button to exit back to the main screen. As you can see here now, if I press the picture button and the palette button at the same time, it brings up Reticle A, which is the one sighted in for 50 meters. If I press it again, it brings up Reticle 2, which is for 100 meters. So that's just an example of what you can do, and that's how quick it is. So I could quickly just change it again and keep cycling through them and come back to Reticle 1 at 50 meters. I wanted to change to a different reticle group. I could press and hold the scroll wheel button, go to the reticle group menu here, and press and change to the next group B, which then gives you another 5 reticles that you can sight in for different distances. But I'll take that back to reticle group A, and that is pretty much it. Alright, so let's say I want to shoot this glowing dot here. Alright, so to zoom in we use our scroll wheel. It's very convenient. I absolutely love the scroll wheel on this thing. We can zoom right in, we can see our glowing dot there. We can see our target, and it's pretty bloody cool, isn't it? We can then go to the front, we can focus it up. Look at that, we're bringing it in a lot clearer there now. So using the focus ring on the front here, zoom back out, and that's what we have. Alright, so we sell these glow targets here. If you want some of those, jump on and have a look. You can just use a bit of foil if you like. And if you're having trouble seeing it, try a different colour palette. So we'll change the colour palettes here now, and you'll see, okay, so even on the black hot there, we can see quite a lot. But when you see a lot of different stuff there now with that colour palette, we go to the next one. If you're having trouble seeing it, just try a different colour palette. You might find you can see it a lot better. Now these things can be mounted directly to a pick rail using 30mm traditional rings. Alright guys, I think that just about covers it. I don't know what else to tell you.